Uh-oh.
Hey everybody! Welcome to Your Music Sucks. I'm Brian Beaudoin. That is my good friend Craig Gass. Is heard on the Howard Stern Show. Can be seen eating Miranda's pussy on Sex in the City. How you doing, Craig? How's things?
Brian, you
Yes.
take Miranda's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm gonna. I'm gonna.
Take Miranda's name out your fucking mouth.
I'm going to. All right, let's just get on with the songs then, okay? Okay.
Greatest show ever.
This is the greatest show of all time. Craig Gass just slapped the shit out of me.
God damn. You know what's crazy is I couldn't wait to see you because I thought our big headline, our huge headline today was going to be our producer Tom is a star. Our producer Tom was on TMZ. He ended up in some fucking TMZ clip and I saw his face on TMZ and I was like, what the fuck? And I sent a text to Brian. I was like, Tom got on TMZ before we did. What the fuck is that about? And then Will Smith steps up. You know what's so odd about it? Did you watch it live in real time?
I did not watch the Oscars live in real time.
Okay. I did. And when I texted people what happened, it sounds like a joke. It sounds absurd. Will Smith just punched Chris Rock. Oh, that's funny. And I'm like, no, Will Smith just walked up on stage and punched Chris Rock in the mouth. Ah, that's hilarious. And I'm like, Will Smith just walked on stage and punched Chris Rock in the mouth. What went through your head? First of all, how'd you hear about it? Because I'm watching it live. How'd you hear about it?
I just saw a lot of posts. I saw a lot of posts, then I saw a meme, and then I said, let's see what Twitter has to say about this. And then I saw the whole clip, and it's about a day later, and I don't know. I don't know. I think personally, I think that I don't know, but I'm leaning towards staged at this point for a lot of reasons.
Okay, what are your reasons? By the way,
Number one,
can I just say I saw that you posted something about saying that you think it was staged, and I was like, "There's no way Brian actually thinks this was staged." But I want to hear you out. So, what are the reasons that you think?
The reasons why I think it was staged is because number one, nobody can walk up to another person and just smack them, and then nothing happens. Nothing happens. Number two, if somebody is walking towards me straight face in a power walk, lifts up their hand, my first reaction is to flinch a little bit. Chris Rock didn't flinch one bit. He leaned in. He leaned in, right? So, and not for nothing, Andy Kaufman and Jerry Lawler did this fucking 30 years ago.
Okay.
Like a fake fucking slap. So there's a lot of things that make me think it was fucking staged. But then there's also a couple things that kind of make me think it's real too. And so it's not
to your 2 points, being around really successful people will say awful shit and do awful shit, and everyone just goes, ha ha, and sometimes it can be abusive, and people just be like, ha ha, and nobody does a fucking thing. I've been around it. It's when Will steps up on stage and starts walking towards Chris, it feels like a bit. And that's what I thought it was. I thought it was like a silly thing, but there was something authentic about Chris's stammer in that moment. In that moment, he doesn't have a line. He just goes, "Oh, okay, Richard." He attempts to formulate a sentence around King Richard, the movie that was nominated for the Oscar. So he says something Richard, and he doesn't say a full sentence. And that was the first giveaway right before Will Smith popped him that I was like, wow, that doesn't sound written. And then dead audio for 15 seconds, just straight up dead audio live on TV. You see Chris Rock start to look serious. You see Will Smith looking very serious and yelling. And the audio finally comes back on, and Chris Rock, to a silent theater, says, "Well, that was greatest night of television ever." And that even was a giveaway to me that it was real, because I think what he meant to say was that was the greatest moment in television ever. But when you're on stage and someone threatens to physically assault you, or you think someone's going to physically assault you, your mind is racing like, is this really fucking happening? Is this really happening? And you're trying to
No,
make
that
and the words don't come out as a complete sentence. His complete sentence was, this is the greatest television show in history, but I think he meant this is the greatest moment in television in history.
yeah.
And he, but to your point, it was the height of power and Hollywood where everybody laughs up. It was in real time. This dude, the most celebrated guy of the night that night, he was the odds-on guy to win the Oscar. Everybody was talking about how they really believe this was Will's year, which is why when that incident happened, I was like, they're not taking him out of the theater. And I had to run out the door, and I'm like, I'm staying here until Will Smith wins that Oscar as he's expected to, because I want to see if that guy fucking apologizes, which he didn't. He just in a roundabout way apologized and didn't apologize to Chris, but that had everything real about it to me. Have you ever been physically threatened when you're on stage?
It's happened 1.5 times, Craig.
Describe the one time and the halftime.
One time was I called a couple strippers prostitutes and they didn't like it and they hit me. One of them hit me. She said, "Yeah," she said, I'm a stripper, not a whore." And then she hit me, which is a funny fucking line. And then, I'm a stripper, not a whore. And then the other one was there was a drunk little person at my show, which is why it's a half. And he didn't like the jokes that I was making, and he started getting belligerent. He came up on stage and started pushing me, and then I had to turn. And it was like that's the thing. Like it was one of those shows. There was no security. It was like a function hall. So now I have to like diffuse the situation while being funny, while dealing with a drunk fucking midget. It was crazy shit. So he started pushing me, and then eventually I made it like we're friends, like we're a friend type thing. It's like I'm on your team, dude. It's like I'm usually the shortest guy in the room, you know, and we kind of made it a fun thing. And then and then at one point he got pissed off again, and they were dragging him out, and I said, "Yeah, get him out of here. Go put him back in the claw machine out front."
You called it 1.5 incidents because one of the incidents involved a midget. That is fucking hilarious.
Thank you.
I did a show once in Davie, Florida. They used to have a comedy club in Davie, which is right by, you know where Davie is? Davie is right down the road from where you and I go to hockey games in Florida when the Florida Panthers hook us up and we go to games. That's in, what town is that in? But it's right down the street is the town of Davie. It's right by Fort Lauderdale. They used to have a comedy club in there. I get up on stage one night, and I start my set, and some guy in the crowd just angry. Like I've had drunk people who are like questionable, and you're like, okay, and you try to handle them with kid gloves, but this guy straight up yelled out, "Fuck you!" Like angry, just like the way Will Smith did.
At you?
Yes, at the very beginning of my set. And it was disconnected to anything. It was just me saying, "How are you guys doing tonight?"
Yeah, that's the thing. You're not like I can like you're not a very confrontational person on stage. Like you're very like you tell fucking stories on stage. How can someone just stand up and say "fuck you" to Craig Gass?
You know, I do remember one time a woman got mad at me for calling myself a fag. And it happened like I think I called myself a fag like a couple of times in the set. And a woman stood up and said, "If you say that word one more time, we're getting out of here." And I said, "Why did that offend you?" And she said, "We're gay." And I said, "But I called myself a fag." And she got up and walked out.
That's very funny.
So yeah, but in that moment, I just realized, you know what? I don't care enough to defend that whatever that thing was where I called myself that word enough to keep it in the set. I just was like, fuck it. I don't really it wasn't that important to me. I used to do some jokes on stage that afterwards, people who fit the punchline of the jokes would come up and say hi to me, and I'd go, like, I wanted to apologize, and they'd go, "Oh, I loved it," and I was like, "Okay." And I started to think, like, if I'm feeling that way looking at people after the show, then why am I doing that? Why am I doing that if I feel like, so for me, it doesn't really fit. But this one night in Davie, Florida, this would have been mid 2000s. This guy yells out, "Fuck you," yells out, "Fuck you." And immediately, just like with Will Smith in the theater, everyone just got tense, like super quiet. And I just started. I got 45 minutes ahead of me. So the first thing that came off the top of my head, it's amazing what you'll say out of fear, right? Like you ever like out of, and I think it's because we're programmed, we push people, and when we're about to get beat up, we pull shit out of our ass to try to diffuse the situation. And I remember in that moment just saying, and I was really proud of this, man, you brought the wrong energy to a comedy show. Oh my God. And I got a little bit of laugh, but there was still a tremendous amount of tension. Like, that guy's serious. That guy is really angry. So I just started with my set, and every couple of minutes I'd go, "You know what I'm talking about? Angry guy, you know what I'm talking about?" And he yelled out, "Just shut the fuck up and do your jokes." And I said, "Well, I can't do both. I cannot shut the fuck up and do my jokes." And the angrier he got, the more I instinctually got softer and lighter and non-confrontational, which does two things. It softens him up a little bit, and it pulls the entire crowd on my side, because I'm not fighting back. I'm just like, I always remember Big J Okerson saying something about somebody yelling at him on stage, and he had some kind of soft comeback that balanced everything out. I can't remember what it was, but so the show goes on and on and on. And at one point I said, "You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Angry guy, you know what I'm talking about, right? Angry guy, is he still there?" And someone goes, "He went to his car. He said he was going to get something." And the whole crowd went, "Ooh." And I was like, in my head, I was thinking, there's no fucking way that's what I think it is. There's no fucking way that's what I think it is. And when I got off stage, the guy who owned the club, Robert, grabbed me, pulled me down. He said, "Go, go, go, get down, get down." And we ran in the kitchen, and he goes, "The guy came back with a gun. He has a gun. He's not mad at you. He's mad at somebody at his table, because the last time that you said, 'Hey, angry guy,' and he yelled at you, somebody at his table turned around and said, 'Will you shut the fuck up?'" And the guy was like, and he got up, went outside, grabbed a gun, came back into the comedy club, showed the gun to the bouncer, to the door guy, and said, "I'm just letting you know, if I see the guy at my table, I'm using this." And the bouncer picked up the phone, and he was like, "Hi, there's a gentleman here in my lobby with a gun right now." And then the guy ran out into the parking lot, and then my show let out, and they told everybody, "You got to wait here in the lobby." And the funniest part about the whole story is that everybody was waiting in the lobby while the cops searched the parking lot of Uncle Funny's for a gunman. A gunman was in the parking lot of Uncle Funny's.
Uncle Funny's parking lot gunman.
Uncle Funny's. By the
but
way, Sunrise is the town I was trying to think of. Sunrise is right down the road, up the road from Davie, and that's where you and I have gone to a few hockey games, because the Panthers are awesome to us. So
great weather in Sunrise.
Mhm.
But it is crazy to think about the crazy people that come to our shows. Like I thought about it today. The drunk fucking assholes at the VFW that threatened to beat me up in the parking lot have more self-control than Will Smith.
Yeah.
And that's saying something. Right? Because there's been a bunch of, like, granted, I've only been hit on stage 1.5 times. I have been threatened hundreds of times from, just hundreds of times. So many times, like, at least, oh man, there was a good string there where at least once every week somebody would be like, "I'll see you in the outside, I guess." And it's like, all right, I guess I'm gonna, like, and there were some shows where I legit thought I was gonna get the shit beat out of me after the show. Like, legit. And because when you push people's buttons, and that's the joke, and you have to divert the attention. They feel threatened, and then they get shut down within the show. So they're not going to do anything in the show because everybody's on your side.
Yep.
Right. But when they're in the parking lot, it's just you and them. You know, when you're walking in your car, it's just you. There's no fucking crowd on your side to ooh and ah, you know?
Yeah, I have seen fights break out unrelated to the comedy show. I've seen fights break out. I remember one time in Phoenix, a fight broke out before I walked on stage. And there was one night in Austin, Texas, where a fight broke out halfway through my set. And oh, no. I was at the end of my set. I had already done 40 minutes. And the typical headlining spot is about 45 minutes. I'll usually do an hour. So I might have been close to an hour. Whatever it was, I was close to the end of what I was planning on doing. And a massive brawl jumped out. It was apparently a guy tried to leave early and realized his car was towed because he parked in a handicap spot. And he was mad that they towed his car from a handicap spot, but he didn't have any handicap license plate or decals or anything. So he came in and started screaming in the middle of the showroom. And a big fight broke out. It was a brawl involving a couple bouncers and several people in this party. And it spilled over out into the lobby. And someone just said, stretch. And I was like,
that's
okay.
That's good
And
stretch.
I ended up doing a play-by-play of what I could see through the window into the lobby from behind a bar stool. I squatted down behind a bar stool, and that made for a great show because everybody knows, God damn, this is a real situation. This is really happening, and he's just riffing in the moment. And Chris Rock wanted to do that. You could see he went, oh, you know.
That's the fucking part that makes me think it's real. That fucking hesitate. There's one part where he goes, I'm going to. And then he goes, oh, man, I could. And then he looks to the side, and then that's when somebody tells him just do the next thing. But
Yeah.
man, like that's the moment where I think it's real. That moment,
his
one instant, because I know that feeling.
He was ready, and he makes a sound like ooh, and it's a rare sound for Chris Rock. I've never heard like a ooh, like I could.
It was that hesitate. It was that I could fucking destroy you right now. I could
absolutely,
and I'm not going to do it. That's what that fucking noise was. That noise was, all he had to say was, Will Smith, I didn't want any fucking entanglements tonight. That's all he had to fucking say.
Yep.
And that fucking place would have exploded, and it would have been a way bigger story. Because now you're bringing on the fucking affair that your wife had into the fucking, to defend you. Yeah, fuck yeah, that would have been a fucking great. That's what my line would have been. And that's why I get threatened in the parking lots at the show.
It's weird because you know that I'm not somebody who gets worked up about shit. I have friends in my life who make fun of me for not being someone who gets mad. I don't get mad about anything. I just, no matter what the bad situation is that presents itself in my life, I'm just like, all right, well, I guess it's what it is. I'm very accepting of bad news. I don't fight bad news. I don't get angry about bad news. I just roll with, because I don't think there's anything you can do about bad news. You get handed some bad shit, and it's like, getting angry is a waste of your time. It's a complete waste of time. So I don't get angry. I got angry yesterday. I don't know if I would say angry, but I definitely got upset last night. I was calling people up like, that guy just ruined comedy.
I was mad too.
For the next 20 years, that guy just ruined stand-up comedy shows all over the country with dipshits in the audience all over the United States, all over the world, are all going to be thinking when they get mad at a comedy show, and some idiots get mad because they're fucking idiots and they don't understand.
They do.
This is a comedy show and this is a performance, and anything that's being said on stage. I'll give you a perfect example. And he doesn't know this. I was actually at his house a couple days ago for his birthday. There's a singer named Sebastian Bach, who's a really funny dude. He's got a great sense of humor. And I love him because he's Canadian. So Canadians are better people. But for my birthday, when we went to Hawaii and you were part of my roast, I had a bunch of musicians and comedians send in videos of themselves roasting me. And Sebastian Bach is one of the people I hit up. And I said, hey, Sebastian, put yourself on film. Just rip on me for a little bit and just say, whatever, you're handsome. I'm not. Just whatever you want to do. And he struggled for like a week. And then he finally texted me and said, hey, dude, I love you, but I don't get saying mean things about people. I'm Canadian. I don't get it. And he just felt so uncomfortable with it that I was like, God, that's amazing. It really said a lot about Sebastian Bach. Well, that guy 30 years ago, and he doesn't know this. I haven't said this to him to his face yet. But when I was a kid, I was at a party that Sam Kinison was at. There's a lot of name dropping going on in the story, but it's irrelevant. If you get offended by that, you're probably borderline Will Smith right now. This is the story. So Sam Kinison made some shitty comments about Sebastian Bach. A video had just surfaced of Sebastian Bach taking a broken Jack Daniels bottle and throwing it in the audience because someone hit him in the head with a bottle of Jack Daniels. He ended up cutting people. It was in Springfield, Massachusetts, where it happened 30 years ago. It was a big.
If there's a city where people should be cut, it's fucking Springfield, Massachusetts.
So Sam Kinison made some jokes about Sebastian, or made some shitty comments about Sebastian Bach. And I told a friend of mine about it. That friend called me up a few days later and said, "Hey, dude, you're not going to believe this. I'm at a diner right now and Sebastian Bach is here." And I said, "Oh, no shit." And he goes, "I told him your Sam Kinison story. He's standing right next to me. He wants to talk to you." And I went, "Okay." And Sebastian Bach picks up the phone and he goes, "Hey, dude, it's fucking Sebastian. What the fuck? What did Sam Kinison say about me?" And I go, "Oh, well, I mean, this isn't me talking. This is what he said." And Sebastian asked me 3 different times, but was it on stage? But was it on stage? Because if it's on stage, but if it was off stage, then he meant it. If it's on stage, Sebastian Bach understood that he is attempting to be funny if he's on stage. Even if he's saying shitty things about you, he's attempting to be funny. So Sebastian Bach got that 30 years ago. And that's something that Will Smith has just fucking destroyed, because hundreds of millions of people now on the internet have watched that video over and over and over again. And there are those people, you see people writing in the
comments. About it. I mean, just think about it, right? If the idea is defending your wife, that's everybody, man. That's everybody you talk to at a fucking comedy show.
Yep. And Will Smith put out an apology today, which was really lame. He hid behind, "I shouldn't have got mad. And I know that being an entertainer means that people are going to make fun of you. And I get that. But when you make jokes about my wife's physical ailment," and that was not the joke.
That's not the joke, man.
The joke was, she's bald-headed. She's bald-headed. She looks like G.I. Jane, who, by the way, everyone thought Demi Moore was fucking hot in G.I. Jane. Like, wow, man, look how hot she is. Shaved head. She's got a great body. And his wife has a shaved head and a great body. The joke was not about the disease, and most people had no idea that she had any kind of fucking disease. So
yeah, no, it wasn't a fucking disease joke. It was a quick, like, let's face facts. That was a cheap, low-hanging fruit fucking joke.
Bald head joke.
It's a you're a bald-headed woman joke. You have short hair woman joke. Every woman in a crowd with short hair is G.I. Jane.
Yep.
Every fucking one. And every comedy show since fucking G.I. Jane. It's comedy 101. He made a dumb fucking, it wasn't even a real, it was a tag. It was a tag to another fucking thing.
Yeah.
So he tagged it and then he was moving on, and you get that fucking mad over that? Fuck off, Will Smith.
Yeah, but it really bothered me. It really haunted me to watch the image of it, because the fact that everyone just fucking sat there, and Hollywood gets accused of being hypocritical. And there's nothing more hypocritical than continuously using that platform of the Oscars to say that you stand for those who are being held down, to stand for those who are being treated unfairly, and then just sit there while a guy gets punched right in the face and do nothing when it's clear that he meant it. He sits in the audience and yells to a level twice that the whole theater just goes dead silent, and you let him stay there. And then he gets his award, and you let him pick up his award, and you let him walk out. And I saw a couple people on red carpets at after parties actually defending Will. And I was like, and they weren't like big name people, but I was like, fuck you. You like, how do you defend? And they try to do it in a creative way where you could tell they were like, I might. It's you know what? It's like the Amy Schumer thing. Amy Schumer and Louis C.K. were fucking bulletproof from other comedians because Louis C.K. and Amy Schumer helped out a ton of comedians. So any comedian that has something of a name has gotten some kind of a TV role or some kind of help from Louis C.K. and Amy Schumer. I don't think
Amy Schumer was mean to me.
Was she really?
She was mean to me.
I think you told me that. You know what? You did tell me that, and I've heard of. Yeah, you did tell me that. And but Louis C.K. and Amy Schumer never helped me out. I remember being on Opie's radio show with a couple of comedians who were friends of Louis. Louis' name came up. This is before the scandal really broke, and I said, "Hey, don't you guys think it's weird that no one acknowledges those stories that came up about him jerking off? Like that's weird, right?" And everyone got quiet, and I was like, "You don't think it's weird that?" He just pulls his dick out and likes to have people watch him jerk. Like, that's not weird to you guys? And everyone was dead quiet. And everyone in that room, except for me and Opie, were people that he had put on TV shows. And in Opie's case, Opie relied on Louis to be a guest when any big thing was going on. He had a great relationship with Louis. So Opie doesn't say anything. And Amy Schumer, same boat. And with Will Smith getting on stage, nobody wanted to step up and say anything. It's obvious. It's such an obvious thing. He just assaulted somebody and you're not going to say anything. It's going to have such a lasting impact. We're going to see over the next few years comedians getting attacked. We're going to see athletes getting attacked. We're going to be seeing people in performance spaces, whether it be in theater or comedy or in sports, where people are going to feel more emboldened to say, "Hey, man, I don't like what you did."
If Will Smith can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, which is why, okay, I know you're saying you're on the fence, and I hear your arguments for both sides. I know it's real, but for the argument that it is real, which I do believe it's real, what do you think should happen to Will?
Oh, I think well, that's the thing. Chris Rock would have to put up the charges, right? That's the thing. I don't have the information. Once the information comes out, then I'll I don't trust anything that I fucking see anymore. I don't.
So
not even this.
Okay, but let's say that it's confirmed.
If it's confirmed,
because there's no question in my mind. Everything about that is real. There's no question in my mind. Why would they stage Will Smith?
It's like professional wrestling, man, in the 80s and the 70s, but back before you knew it wasn't work.
See,
that's exactly what this is, man. It's like, do you think Hulk Hogan can beat Andre the Giant? That's exactly what we're doing right now. Do you think Will Smith really hit Chris Rock? I don't fucking know.
There's no
but
question.
If he did, but it's one of those things. If he did, something needs to happen. There needs to be repercussions for this. You can't fucking slap somebody on an international live television show and not expect anything to happen. And if nothing happens, then it just proves how hypocritical Hollywood is.
You know that Will Smith put out a statement tonight, right?
No.
He put out a statement apologizing.
I was watching Harry Potter. I was in the order of the fucking what was it? The third. What's the third one? The Prisoner of Azkaban with fucking what's his face?
I love that.
The black guy.
You responded by telling me you were watching Harry Potter in a threatening way, like you wanted to fight with me.
I'll fucking kill you.
By the way, Brian and I came up with the coolest idea. I hope you and I get it back on another one of those. I got to reach out to Chris Jericho and get us on another one of those cruises. Brian and I did the first 2 Chris Jericho cruises, and was it the first one where we came? Yeah, it was the first one we came up with a fight that introduces me on stage, right?
Yeah.
The first time we did it, they showed us our theater, man. It was a dream come true. I was the 8-year-old me was freaking out, but I know Brian, as a lifelong wrestling fan, freaked out because they actually put us in a wrestling ring on a theater stage. And I think it was Brian who said, we should have a fight in the ring. And I was like, oh, I got an idea. How about you introduce me like you are doing your set, and then I start heckling you, and then you say, if you think you can do better, get up here. All right, fuck you. And then I come up on stage, fuck you. And then we try to do the buckle thing, like a run back and forth to the ropes, and we both got winded. We were like, that was amazing. But yeah, I think Will Smith should have his Oscar taken away. I don't think there's anything short of that. really
I don't
drives
think he
home.
should have his Oscar taken. He earned the Oscar. Let him keep the fucking Oscar. I think more shit should happen to him. I think
But
different shit.
they've taken Oscars away from other people. Like they've rescinded all of Harvey Weinstein's shit for the shit that he did. Obviously, he did something more horrendous, but they've drawn a line. I just
I don't
think,
know. I think this is worse.
really hitting Chris Rock in the face.
I thought it was funny.
I love it. I would love if in the middle of this, I see like your back door open up and a girl walks up and just punches you in the, or Will Smith comes in and punches you in the face, or Jada Pinkett Smith walks in and punches you in the face. But
I would love that.
it annoyed the shit out of me. That is not the point of this podcast. The point of the podcast is to get together and catch up with each other once a week. This is Your Music Sucks, where Brian and I are best friends. We love each other, but we just don't see eye to eye on music. And this week, you sent me a Grateful Dead song. I sent you a Pantera song. And what we do is we critique the songs and learn a little bit about each other's music. That's the hope. But we also end up sometimes learning that our own music actually sucks more than we realize. So do you want to go first with the Pantera song? Or do you want me to go first with the Grateful Dead song?
You know what? I'll go first just because I got it right in front of me right now.
All right.
This song starts out with a lot of noise.
It's Pantera's. It's Pantera's Mouth for War. Yeah, there's the album. And by the way, here's the reason I sent it to you, because bring up the original artwork, Tom. That's the original artwork. That's the cover of the second album from Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power. And the reason why I sent you this song is because this is the first song on that album that just kicks you right in the balls. And also because I saw this incredible meme that I want to show you, which is this moment was somebody photoshopped that into the cover. Vulgar Display of Power of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. That's why I sent the song. It made me think of you and made me think of this song. But Mouth for War is a really aggressive song. What did you have? You never heard it?
No, this is a new one for me, Craig. This is a newbie. Never heard it.
All right. Lots of noise.
Again, lots of heavy noise right up front. Just and then it's like the verses are. It's almost like a chapter book, right? And he just goes, I was screaming revenge again, wrong. And he just starts, I was screaming revenge again, wrong. I've been wrong far too long. And it's like, so far, every Pantera song that you have sent me just sounds like somebody that just needs to talk it out with somebody. Like, just talk it out and you'll be fine. Like, it just seems like all you really need to do is just have a talk with somebody. Just somebody, a friend, a dad, right? And as I was listening to the song, I was scrolling through the lyrics, right? I'm like, let's see what happens in the story, because this guy is really upset about his bones and traction and his hands break into hone raw energy. I don't know what the fuck that means. Bold and disastrous. My eyes can't hear what you say to me. Hold your mouth for the war. All right. And then
use it for what it's for.
And then there's one line where I'm like, oh, if this was the first line of the song, the whole thing would kind of make a little more sense. No comprehension to fail. I vacuum the wind for my sail. Can't be the rest. I let others waste my time. Owning success is the bottom line. I love that line. That was great. And when I was scrolling through, I'm like, you know what? I can't wait to hear this. And then the whole song changed into a different thing. Now it picks up and there's more people punching each other on the face in the video. And the line that I really wanted to hear, I really couldn't even hear because they upended the song and it made my brain tingle in a terrible way. And that's what it did. It tingled in a terrible way. But yeah, it's just I think this dude just needs to hug it out with another guy. Really, is what needs to happen. Not in a gay way. Just like you need a bro. Talk it out.
Scale of 1 to 5. What would you give this?
1 to 5. Man, that's the thing. I kind of like the lyrics. After that, like reading the lyrics, I like it. The song itself is just, oh god, it's just a pain in my brain. I'll give it a 2. I'll give it a 2. A 2.
And you would have given it a 1 if you didn't like the lyrics.
I would have given it a 0 if the lyrics were shit. Luckily, there comes a time within everyone to close your eyes to see what's real, and that's what brought this thing to a 2.
So you sent me a song from Bob Weir, and the name of the song is "Greatest Story Ever Told," right?
Yeah, it's a Grateful Dead song. Grateful Dead's known for this song. Not so much. Yeah, they've played this billions of times.
Well,
never been studio recorded, and
so
I didn't want to send you a live version.
Here's the thing. This is Brian's wheelhouse. He loves Grateful Dead, so his jam is Grateful Dead and Fish. And I'm going to say this again. I don't know what's happening because I didn't find the song completely unlistenable when it started. I was kind of like, I actually kind of liked it. And the lyrics kicked in, and then I had questions, but because the opening line of the song is Moses came riding up on a quasar, and I go, what the fuck? How is that? Why would anyone start out a song Moses came riding up on a quasar? And then let's be honest, what the fuck is a quasar? I didn't even Google it. I
have no idea. I'm gonna Google it now. Keep going.
All right. I don't know what the fuck a quasar is, but I was like, Moses came up on a quasar. What the fuck does that mean? His spurs were a jingling. The door was ajar. His buckle was silver. His manner was bold. I asked him to come on in out of the cold. His brain was boiling. His reason was spent. He said if nothing was borrowed, then nothing was lent. I asked him for mercy. He gave me a gun. Said now and again, these things just gotta be done. And then it kicks into the fucking chorus goes, Abraham and Isaac. And I go, that's not
on a fence.
I'm like, Abraham and Isaac sitting on a fence. And then I thought, is this like some kind of Bible thing? Why would you put Abraham and Isaac into a song that's like that sounds like a Bible song. And then as I started reading, I was like, oh, wait a second. Gideon came in with his eyes on the floor. And I was like,
yeah.
The only thing I know about Gideon is that isn't that like the thing where they put the Bibles in a hotel?
Yeah, man, they left all the Bibles in the hotels. All of them. The Gideons.
Okay, and I mainly know that from a Bill Hicks joke. So
they invented the printing press.
Did they really? Is that a true thing?
No, that was Ben Franklin.
So I've only been to church for funerals and AA meetings. So I'm starting to put this together like, okay, Gideon, and then there's Moses stood up a full 6'10". I was like, how is Moses 6'10"? And I'm like, all right, so this is a Bible thing. It's kind of a Bible song. And then I found myself going, you know what? This is actually really smart. Moses stood up 6'10", said, you can't close the door when the walls caved in. I asked him for water. He poured me some wine. And I was like, oh, this is a Bible. And I was like, it was actually kind of smart. And if did I freeze up there for a second?
For a sec.
I feel like if I knew anything about the Bible, this whole thing would make more sense. So I'm like, oh, the greatest story ever told. And I was like, all right, I don't love it. Musically, I was surprised at how much I liked it. Musically, something is happening, and I think you're starting to fuck with me. I feel like you're wearing me down, and you're making Grateful Dead less irritating for me. And I don't know how that's happening, but I actually found the groove was really easy to understand in this song, and I dug it. I actually dug it. So believe it or not, I am going to give this a 3.5.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Now, would you like to take a guess what a quasar is?
Oh, you found it? What?
I did. I did.
What is a quasar?
According to the internet,
okay,
a quasar is an extremely luminous, active galactic nucleus powered by a supermassive black hole with a mass range from millions to tens of millions of solar masses surrounded by gaseous accretion, accretion disk, a gaseous accretion disk.
Okay.
Whatever the fuck that is. So it's like a frisbee, but it looks like it's like a whole fucking galaxy. And motherfucker riding on that just made the song fucking the best.
You know
I was
what?
going to say the greatest, but it already is.
I was thinking that, like, if I was high and just like in that zone where I just didn't give a shit, I feel like I would really even groove to this. But I think you have
Yeah,
to be high to groove to it.
I
But
think you do too.
yeah, I mean the lyrics are just obnoxious. But yeah, I gave it 3.5, and I hope that between now and next week, when I talk to you, that we will not hear about one of our friends getting beat up on stage. So
Ooh, you want to take a bet? Do you think there'll be any entanglements between audience member and comic between now and our next episode?
how about this? How about you and I say the first big viral moment that happens where someone attempts to fight a comedian? Who are the top three most likely, in order? In order, who are the top three most likely people that are going to get threatened on stage?
I don't think there'll be any big names. I think
Oh,
it'll be guys that you
I can
never
think
heard
of a
of.
big name.
Who? Who do you think?
The guy, and I just spaced on his name. The dude who did the Netflix special about the going to the abortion clinic. Uh, uh,
Anthony Jeselnik?
Anthony Jeselnik. I was going to say who dated Amy Poehler or Amy Schumer. Yeah, Anthony.
See, I feel if you go to an Anthony Jeselnik show, you know what you're getting.
But Anthony says when he looks out in the audience that he gets a sick thrill out of seeing who came to see him and who was clearly a date and that had no idea what they were about to see.
All right. We'll
So
throw Anthony Jeselnik on the Deadpool.
yeah, who's your number one on the Deadpool?
Man, I don't know, and I can't think right now. I don't know. I
You know
don't know.
what?
I'm trying to think of comedians that get irritated on stage
I
that would force it a little more.
Like, you know who loves to just bring people up on stage and roast them is Jeff Ross. Do you think Jeff Ross might get, God forbid, get attacked by an audience member?
No, because Jeff Ross is billed as Jeff Ross, the fucking roast master.
Yes.
And when Jeff Ross is on stage, you know he gives a whole fucking thing about roast and this is good fun. We're having fun.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't come in like Elisa Lampanelli comes in and just fucking rips you apart. And if you ain't ready for it, it's in your fucking face.
Yeah.
So think of a fucking male Lisa Lampanelli, and that's who it'll be. It'll be that type of comic.
Well, Jeselnik,
But I really think it's going to be a no-name guy that just doesn't know how to handle the situation.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, there's, those no-name guys are the ones that usually get in the most trouble because they don't know how to even deliver an offensive joke in a way that people want to go with them and go down that road. Were you thinking of somebody?
I'm gonna go Bob Levy. I'm gonna go the Reverend Bob Levy.
I don't think so because Bob's audience is purely his own. I think he's like in a Doug Stanhope world but then again, we could have said that about Anthony Jeselnik. But all right, so you take Bob Levy as your number one death pool. I'll take Anthony Jeselnik.
I've seen the rooms Levy's doing. This is good. This is a good fucking bet.
I've performed in the rooms with Levy at the rooms that Levy does.
As have I.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've probably ended up at a crisis center after our first shows with him. But yeah. Yeah, I love Bob. But all right. So your number one death pool is gonna be Bob Levy. I got Anthony Jeselnik, and we'll see what happens. But I will talk to you next week, Brian. Where do people find you and your podcast?
Fingers crossed. You can go to IllinoisCockburn.com. IllinoisCockburn.com.
Just as it sounds, IllinoisCockburn.com. And I'm at getgas.com. Getgas with 2 S's.com. A roast is coming up in Seattle for the roast of Steve Miggs, who's a legendary morning radio guy there on April 15th. And there's some dates coming out, a full-fledged tour. And Tom Brady to the Miami Dolphins. And then Brian and I will be at some Dolphins games this year.
I mean, I know we're closing the episode, but you know that you cannot order a custom Tom Brady Miami Dolphins jersey? They change the name around. They'll change it to an S. They'll change it to a Y. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Change it to an S and change it to a Y?
Yep. More on that. Cliffhanger. Because I got some shit to show you, Craig. I got some shit to show you.
All right, let's start with that next week. That's your
Yeah,
cliffhanger.
fuck
God
yeah.
damn, that was dramatic.
I'm
All
gonna
right,
send the
well,
shit to Tom right now. Fuck yeah. This is gonna be a great bit.
well, I love you,
Promises.
Brian, and I
Thank you
love
for
you.
listening, everybody. I'm extremely high. I gotta go.
And Tom Brady, if you're out there, please come to Miami. Please come to Miami. Good night.